Have you ever stopped to think why some people seem to have the Midas touch while you're working like crazy and can barely pay the bills at the end of the month? It's not because these people are geniuses. It's not because they got lucky. And it's definitely not because they were born with a silver spoon. The truth is, there's a set of mental habits that separates those who accumulate fortune from those who spend their lives chasing their own financial tail. And the craziest part, these are things so counterintuitive that most people do exactly the opposite of what they should do. My name is Thomas, and today I'm going to reveal 7 secrets that the rich apply daily, but are rarely spoken about openly. This isn't motivational coach theory. This is real observation of behavior from people who made it. If you're ready to have your mind flipped, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. Let's go. First, they buy time. They don't save money. I'll start with one that goes against everything your parents taught you. Rich people don't hunt for coupons at the supermarket. They don't spend their entire Saturday fixing a faucet to save a few bucks. They don't drive an extra half hour just because gas is a few cents cheaper. Why? Because they understand a completely different kind of math. Here's the logic. If you're capable of generating a lot of value per hour doing what you do best, but you spend that time doing tasks that anyone could do for little money, you're literally throwing money away. The average person looks at it and thinks, I saved money doing it myself. The rich person looks at it and thinks, I lost a fortune in wasted opportunity. It's a brutal shift in perspective. In the United States, you see this very clearly. The entrepreneur who's building an empire doesn't waste time mowing the lawn, cleaning, or organizing their own schedule. They hire a gardener, a cleaner, an assistant, and they use every freed up second to do what only they can do. Close partnerships, develop strategies, create high-value connections. The American culture of do-it-yourself seems noble, but it's a financial trap. Rich people outsource everything that's commoditized, everything that any trained person can do. They save their energy and time exclusively for what multiplies results. Meanwhile, the average person is proud of having saved $100, but doesn't realize they lost 1,000 in opportunity they never saw. Second, they think in ownership, not in paychecks. This one is huge, and practically nobody explains it properly. The average person chases a high salary. The rich person chases participation in the business. Let me give you very American examples that illustrate this perfectly. The guy accepts to work at a Silicon Valley startup, earning half of what he'd earn at a traditional company. The family thinks it's crazy. Friends question it. But why did he do it? Because he received stock options, equity, a piece of the company. If that startup becomes the next Uber, the next Airbnb, he becomes a millionaire. The average person looks at this and thinks, what an idiot. He left a secure job for a lower salary. The rich person looks at this and thinks, what a smart move. He traded limited income for unlimited ownership. This is extremely common in the United States. The early employees of Facebook, Google, Netflix, hundreds became millionaires not from their monthly paycheck, but from the slice of the company they owned. Salary has a ceiling. You'll never earn more than the maximum they pay for your position. Ownership has no ceiling. If the company explodes, your stake explodes with it. That's why rich people often work for free or peanuts at the beginning of their own projects. They're not looking at today. They're building ownership for tomorrow. The average person wants monthly security. The rich person wants to be an owner. Astronomical difference in mindset. Third, they build systems. They don't work harder. Here's a truth that explodes the entire myth of work harder. Rich people don't work more hours than others. They work in a structurally different way. Specifically, they build systems that work without them. What's a system? It's any structure that generates results without requiring your constant physical presence. A well-structured fast food franchise is a system. The owner doesn't need to be there flipping burgers every day. A YouTube channel with a team is a system. You create the content, but there are people filming, editing, publishing, responding to comments. A portfolio of rental properties is a system. The properties generate income month after month with minimal maintenance. The average person approaches work like this: I'll work more overtime to earn more. But that doesn't scale. You hit the limit of hours in the day. The rich person approaches it differently. I'll create a structure that multiplies results without multiplying my time. And that scales infinitely. Look at American billionaires. Jeff Bezos doesn't pack boxes at Amazon. Elon Musk doesn't bolt cars at Tesla. Warren Buffett doesn't answer phones at his companies. They created machines that work without them needing to be in every detail. That's why they can have 10, 20, 30 companies at the same time. While the average person is stuck in their chair working, the rich person is building structures that work for them. One works in the operation, the other works on the system. In the United States, this becomes very evident. The rich create LLCs, corporations, trusts, structures that operate independently of them. Fourth, they accumulate assets that others pay for. This one will open your mind to a completely different reality. Rich people don't buy things. They buy things that other people pay for. Sounds confusing. Let me explain. The average person buys a big, beautiful, expensive house. They pay the mortgage, taxes, maintenance, insurance. Every month, forever. The rich person buys an apartment building. The tenants pay rent. That rent pays the mortgage, the taxes, the maintenance, and there's still money left over. See the difference? One is paying for the asset. The other is being paid by the asset. In the United States, this is extremely common in building real wealth. The guy buys a house, lives in one bedroom, rents out the other 3 on Airbnb. The guests pay his mortgage. He lives for free. Or he buys a duplex, lives in one unit, rents out the other. The tenant pays half or all of the mortgage. Meanwhile, the average person buys a house just for themselves, pays for it alone, and thinks that's success. But who's really building wealth? The same logic applies to everything. Average person buys a car to use, rich person buys a fleet and rents on Turo. Average person buys photography equipment for a hobby. Rich person buys it and rents it out for events. Average person buys tools and leaves them in the garage. Rich person rents them on platforms and other people pay for the usage. It's a complete paradigm shift. Stop buying things that you pay for. Start buying things that others pay for. Fifth, they leverage the tax code like it's a game. This one is controversial, but needs to be said. The American tax system is infinitely more favorable to those who have a business than to those who have a job. And rich people know this. They study the tax code like it's a video game manual. The average person receives a salary. The government takes taxes before the money reaches their hand. They receive what's left. The rich person has a company. They receive revenue, pay all business expenses first, and only then pay tax on what's left. See how it's different? In the United States, if you're a W-2 employee, you pay tax on the gross. Done. But if you have an LLC S-Corp, you can deduct home office, car used in business, business travel, equipment, business meals, courses in education, internet and phone. All of this comes out of the taxable base. Rich person travels to a conference in Las Vegas, stays in a 5-star hotel, has dinner at an expensive restaurant, and deducts everything because it was a business trip. Average person takes vacation, pays for everything out of pocket, with money that was already taxed. It's not fraud. It's simply knowing and using the rules of the game. The system was designed to favor entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs create jobs, move the economy. But most people never learn these rules. They continue paying the maximum possible tax because they don't even know there's an alternative. Rich people have aggressive accountants. They exploit every legal loophole. Average people have basic accountants who just fill out standard forms. Sixth, they use debt as leverage, not as a burden. Prepare yourself because this goes against everything you've been taught about debt being bad. The average person is terrified of debt. They think all debt is bad, that you have to pay everything in cash, that financing is a trap. The rich person understands there are 2 completely different types of debt. Dumb debt and smart debt. Dumb debt. You borrow to buy things that lose value, new car on payments, clothes on credit card, financed phone, trip on credit. Smart debt. You borrow to buy things that generate income or appreciate. In the United States, practically every real estate investor uses debt. They get a mortgage to buy property to rent out. The rent pays the mortgage. The property appreciates. They used the bank's money to get rich. Companies do this all the time. They take out loans to expand. The expansion generates more revenue than the cost of the loan. Net profit? The rich person understands one fundamental thing. If you can borrow at low interest and invest with a return higher than that interest, you're being paid to borrow. Let me give you a very American example. You get a mortgage at a low rate. You buy property that appreciates and generates rent. You're using the bank's money that costs little to earn a lot. You want that debt. The average person hears debt and panics. The rich person hears cheap debt and sees opportunity for leverage. Of course, there's risk. Of course, you need to know what you're doing. But the mindset is completely opposite. Seventh, they cultivate a network of contacts as if IT were an investment. And we've arrived at the last one, which is perhaps the most underestimated of all. Rich people treat networking as a primary investment. They understand that life's greatest opportunities don't come from Google searches. They come from who you know. In the United States, this is ingrained culture. These guys go to expensive conferences. They pay fortunes to be in the room with the right people. They participate in exclusive masterminds, private clubs, VIP events. Why? Because one right connection can be worth millions. The average person thinks networking is a waste of time. That it's just talking. That they'd rather stay home watching series. And they spend their entire life without knowing anyone influential. The rich person knows that their next partner, their next investor, their next big opportunity is in a conversation they haven't had yet. That's why they invest in being in the right places with the right people. They don't go to events to see if it's worth it. They go knowing that networking is a long-term game. You plant today, harvest in months or years. The average person knows people at the same level as them and stays at the same level. The rich person makes a point of knowing people 2, 3, 5 steps above, because that's how you see them be. In the United States, there are people who pay fortunes to participate in high-level entrepreneur groups. Seems crazy. It's not, because one partnership, one tip, one introduction that comes from that group can generate absurd returns. The average person sees this and thinks, what a waste. The rich person sees it and thinks, what a strategic investment. Totally different. Conclusion: change the game, not the rules. So, recapping the 7 secrets that rich people apply but rarely talk about. First, they buy time instead of saving money. Second, they pursue ownership instead of salary. Third, they build systems instead of working harder. Fourth, they accumulate assets that others pay for. Fifth, they master the tax code like a game. Sixth, they use debt as smart leverage. Seventh, they cultivate a network of contacts as an investment. Notice how none of this has to do with working more hours or being smarter. It's all about playing a different game. The average person is playing chess while the rich person is playing poker. It's not cheating. It's simply knowing rules that exist but that nobody taught you. The American system in particular was designed to favor entrepreneurs, investors, business owners, but most people never learn these rules. They continue playing the old game of trading time for money. You can continue doing what you've always done and have the same results. Or you can start today implementing at least one of these secrets. You don't need to do everything at once. Choose one, implement it, master it, then move to the next. Because the difference between those who get rich and those who stay poor isn't talent. It's not luck. It's not origin. It's simply knowing how to play the right game. And now you know. The question is, are you going to use this knowledge or ignore it and continue the same way? If this video opened your mind, share it with someone who needs to see this. And subscribe to the channel for more content that really makes a difference. Comment down below. I really want to know your opinion. Which of these 7 points do you do the opposite of today, and why? Thanks, and see you next time.